What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout and welcome to my guide on what to play now after the ban list. So the ban list happened, a lot of decks got banned, a lot of players lost their decks to play completely, and the metagame is shifting into a completely new direction. And I guess that a lot of you have a question like, okay, what do we do now? Well, I'm here to tell you that, but before we begin the video, huge shout out to our patrons, the Coffee Club, Ryan, Bixen, Adnan, Jakub, Bryce, Derek, Frank, Nave and Miguel. Thank you guys so much for keeping this machine going. Like I always say, we do all of this for free and this is really highly appreciated. No, it gets me coffee. Yeah, I can put, coffee. Yeah, okay, cool. So if you want to join the Coffee Club, link to the Patreon is in the description below. If Patreon isn't your thing, we have a channel membership. For $2 you get like custom emojis and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it is, but I am biased. Now, roll the video. As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So, we're gonna talk about the great Culling of 2023. Then we will pay our respects to the departed. We will talk about the victorious, the winners of the ban list. I'll show you the path forward and then we will end it with a summary. Let's go! Let's talk about the Culling. The unwanted decks have been purged. Gogeta, Sin and Gamma are just flat out gone. Purged from existence, sent to the ban list, legal only in Xenoverse format from now on. Yeah, a lot of players just flat out lost their decks. It is for the better, yes, it is for the better that these, not that the players who lost the decks, but that these three got hit. And it has been really overdue. It has been really overdue. We should have had this ban list one set ago. So yeah, the culling happened very recently. And now, after the culling, there is room for new decks to shine and to grow. Let's check them out. As I've said, we're gonna check out some new decks. So, why and how? Well, the removal of the big three has opened the floodgates for leaders from almost 3 entirely skipped Zenkai sets. Zenkai 19 skipped entirely, in its entirety. BT20 skipped almost in its entirety, except Android 21, Majin, and the node Cumber here and there. No, that was Zenkai 20. Zenkai 21 is coming. Zenkai 21 would have been skipped in its entirety had this not happened. Plus we have a good portion of BT18 as well. So yeah, 3 sets almost entirely skipped. We'll be going over the winners for each color. We'll show you our picks for quote-unquote best decks in each color, and I will also go over some rogue picks based on, you know, the previously established data and my own crazy ideas. Let's start with red. For the next red meta leader, these are our choices. These are our top contenders: Universe 7 Goku, Pen Reboot, Android 13, and Shlonku. Yes, Shlonku, not Stikku, not Polku, not Furious or Masturbatorku, it's Shlonku. So, these 4, let's go over each of them. Let's go over each of them, starting with Universe 7 Goku. So, this was the previously best red aggro deck. It didn't really lose any power when we switched to Zenkai. It just kinda got outshined by Gogeta and Sin. Plus, you can go with a free cost unison here, which helps you avoid Smoke Dragon. It's a good deck. I think this is like the top contender for the next red meta deck. However, and I'm just gonna mention like some weaknesses for each of these, maybe. We'll see, I'll mention for this one. This deck struggles with charging Z energy. You're not charging a lot of Z energy in this deck, so you won't be really profiting out of those sweet Z battle cards. And it's really SCR dependent. If you're someone who doesn't have the Vegeta SCR, SSB Vegeta, I wouldn't recommend going with this deck if you don't have it already and if you don't have a budget for the SCR, because it really becomes a lot better once you have the SCR. Then Pen Ready to Fight returns, a lot of big swings, a lot of draw power, a lot of charging Z energy. I mean, this deck basically has everything. It draws consistently, it plays big threats, it can boost some of its cards to like 30 plus power. It's really cool. It's super consistent. I think this one is, one of the top contenders in my opinion. Probably the second one next to Universe 7. Then Android 13, piloted by Alexander, who's such a mad lad, man. Like that, I love that guy. I love whenever Alexander tops with something. I'm just waiting on social media to see what it is. Once again, one of bigger weaknesses, Gogeta and Sin being so better, gone. And this leader can swing like 1 billion times with his boss monster. And finally, Shlonko. I mean, his name is Shlonko. How can you not play him? Plus, he's a critical aggro deck, basically. You're just gonna be critting your opponent, which is extremely powerful. Yeah, so these are my meta picks. Like, top contenders in red. Now let's talk about some rogue choices. These are our top contenders for rogue choices. Let's go over each of them. Okay, let's start with Cooler Mill. Cooler Mill has been performing very well in the previous metagame. It used to top. It was at multiple events. It was somewhere in the top 16. So it has proven that it has power, basically. Now the deck is also getting a good garlic support. There's a garlic boss monster, I believe, that just flat out negs things, and then I think he negs Unison until he dies or something like that. It's crazy. Anyway, you want to play this in Cooler. Cooler got cool support. There are a lot of battle card heavy based decks, and a lot of these battle cards don't have protection, which makes Cooler even better. If I were to pick the best rogue deck out of these three, it would be Cooler. So you can't go wrong with this one. Second, Exodia. Exodia had only 2 cards that can block it completely. Dirty Burst, that one is gone. That one is dead. So there is no more like you're doing your combo and your opponent Dirty Bursts. No, that's not happening. That's a huge bonus to the deck. And the other one was Heavenly Wizard Demigra, which can just kill him. And you can argue Shin, though that's a bit more of a questionable one. Anyway, without Dirty Burst, Gogeta becomes much more powerful. And finally, Bulma. Bulma can sometimes steal games. I'm not sold on Bulma being too good. Bulma being good depends on your opponent not knowing how to play against it. If your opponent is like, well, Bulma is a deck that can almost infinitely loop its super combos, which are online once she hits 4 lives, and your opponent is like, well, I'm gonna attack Bulma, and then I'm gonna be confused and sad when I drop her to 4 lives and she beats me. That's how you steal games, basically. So I think Bulma is the weakest contender here, even weaker than Exodia, because once you know not to attack her like a madman, the deck just crumbles. If you're looking for the best contender here, Cooler Mill, definitely. Cooler Mill. Now let's look at blue. So Gamma is dead. What are our top contenders? Expert 21. This deck didn't get touched at all. Android 21, if you're in America. Android 21 definitely. Soul Striker. And a newest edition, and I might be wrong on this one, but I have extremely high hopes in Blue Baby from BT20. We will have this how to play guide, I think on Wednesday. I'm still working on it. I was waiting for TPs to get released. So yeah, these 4 are my top contenders. Let's go over each of them. All right. So first off, Expert 21, disgusting deck, shouldn't be allowed to do what it does, but fine. So let's talk about it very briefly. It's a very strong blue hand destruction deck, which is a bit weird when you say like blue, But basically what you do is you loop your Bionic Blade super combo, you take away your opponent's hand, and then you just burn them with a bunch of bad omens. Very strong deck. Very, very strong. Then we have Android 21, which somehow it keeps winning in America. Somehow it keeps winning. It hasn't been performing at all in other regions. It did relatively well at the last European regionals. It did well. But other than that, like, I'm super close to putting this one just in Rogue tier, because I'm not sold on this one, but it keeps other blue decks in check. So if you're playing in a blue heavy meta, this is your top contender. This is definitely your top contender, which you want to play, because you're punishing your opponents for playing blue decks. Then Soul Striker, extremely versatile, extremely versatile. This is the replacement basically for Crimson. So I've been following regionals. You know that I've been following regionals, and it looks like when it comes to which deck is going to replace Crimson, it indeed is Soul Striker. So super versatile deck, definitely huge value here, and definitely a top contender. And then finally, the mayor of Value Town, Baby. Yeah, I'll go over Baby a bit more, I believe, on Wednesday when the How to Play guide is out. I believe on Wednesday. Baby is insane. Baby, trust me, Baby has so much value. So much value, so much pressure. It's a crazy deck. It's really I believe that it's a top contender now that Gogeta and Sin are gone, basically. So, yeah, these are my meta picks. Let's take a look at rogue options. Alright, these are the rogue choices. So we have Gohan Superhero, Janemba, the newest Goku Black deck, and Trunks Reboot. Let's go over each of them. Starting with Gohan Superhero, heavy RNG, really heavy RNG, but can go off well. So once you manage to pull it off, very strong. And now with Gogeta and Sin gone, you aren't as punished as you used to be due to your RNG. So if your deck bricks on like turn 2, let's say, or unfortunately let's say like turn 3, though breaking on turn 3 is more difficult than on turn 2, you're not extremely punished for that. When it came to the last metagame, you didn't have this huge margin for error, you know, like if you made a mistake and you didn't get to, for example, aggro down Sin or something, which was almost an impossible task to do, you would just get extremely punished. Like Sin would just ruffle stomp you. So heavy RNG can go off well, now has a bit more room for error, I believe, just like a bit more room for mistakes, and I think that's enough to push it somewhat into rogue tier. Then for the next one we have Janemba. I was contemplating actually putting Janemba in meta, but I'm still not sure about it, mostly because I have huge faith in Baby and I didn't want to put too many leaders in one slide. Anyway, Janemba did amazingly well in the old meta. Janemba did really, really well in the old meta. And now that Sin and Gogeta are gone, I think Janemba is just gonna do even better. I think Janemba is gonna be insane. I think it's gonna be super crazy. Rogue tier at the moment, probably meta at some point. Probably meta. Especially if you run into like Universe 7, which mills so much on its own, and then you just play Janemba, you're hiding behind your wall of protection and you're just extra milling them. That can work out. So I believe Janemba is gonna be crazy soon. Goku Black, not sold on that one. Gonna do how to play because I see that this is really requested online. The only thing that comes to my mind is ramping into Tragedy to win, like going into Tragedy Overground to try to win. I'm not even sure that that would work against a lot of decks, but we will see. We will see. Goku Black, there is some potential here, some slight potential. And finally, Trunks Reboot as your blue good stuff leader hasn't been really proving himself, but he did top here and there as a blue good stuff leader. Blue good stuff was just in a bad position last meta. Right now it might be a bit better, it's worth giving it a shot. Now it's time to look at yellow. Yellow is like the big boogeyman online that everyone's talking about. Yellow is gonna be insane, it's going to rule the meta, it's gonna be the best color in the game. I heavily disagree with that. I don't believe that yellow is gonna be nearly as oppressive as red was. Red and blue were just stupid good in the last meta game. But yeah, yellow has potential. I wouldn't lie. I would lie, I believe, if I said that yellow didn't have potential. And these are my meta top contenders. Majin Vegeta, Golden Frieza, so like not super sure on that one, but sure, let's say Golden Frieza, let's say. The new SSB duo, which is so good, probably the best one here. And Trunks Vegeta, because like I had to put something. I believe Trunks Vegeta isn't, I believe it's not as good anymore, but we'll see. Let's go over each of them. Now we've reached the point where, you know, Damien was doing these slides until the dead in the evening and he just sort of gave up, but he still wants to talk. So basically, the same thing applies to all of them. They're all just basically yellow good stuff decks. Small engine, a lot of good stuff. The biggest engine here has Trunks Vegeta basically. Everyone else has a small engine. So Majin has been showing great results. It is the highest performing yellow leader at the moment, the best performing one, and I believe it's gonna be strong going into the next metagame. It's not unbeatable. It's not unbeatable. It's not as crazy as some people would like you to believe. It's not that insane. Then we have Golden Frieza, a lot of value, basically better Soul Striker, one of my favorite decks in the entire game, favorite leaders definitely. Is it like super meta? It's not. Once you learn how to play against Golden Frieza, it's not like super scary anymore. However, you need to know how to play against Golden Frieza, of course. I think it's still gonna do well. So let me just say this. There is a lot of talk online that Golden Frieza was super oppressive. It was the best yellow deck. It wasn't. Out of 17 events, it won twice. And it was barely in the top 8. Like top 16, but not top 8. It's not as good, and it completely fell off once people discovered Majin Vegeta. Then I'm just gonna talk briefly about the SSB trio, because we also have a how to play guide for this one coming out as well, because I want to have all of the how to play guides out before the set releases. This one is the best one. Out of all of them, this is the best one, I believe. It's either this one or Majin. Here is why. If you have played during the days of Icarus, there is one way to really identify a good yellow deck. Yellow has a lot of room for good stuff, and what's similar between all of these decks is their engine is small, which allows you to put a lot of good stuff in it, plus their engine has a lot of value. Icarus was amazing because it had basically a 4-card engine, and then the leader who drew like twice or so. This SSB requires only the leader. You don't need to play a single card from the engine for this to be good. You can play if you want, a higher payoff, but you can just run the leader, and that's it. Nothing else. And you draw twice. So, pretty good by those standards. Of course, run some engine pieces to get some bigger payoffs. And then finally, Trunks Vegeta. I think this deck isn't good anymore, but hey, it is here. It won literally nothing in the previous metagame. It won in the current metagame. It won literally nothing. So is it gonna be good? I think it's completely outshined by Majin and probably SSB. But maybe it's gonna be good now in a world where Gogeta and Sin don't exist. I have two rogue options. Not much to say about them, but first off, Spirit Bomb. Okay, so I'm putting Spirit Bomb in Rogue for now. I might change my mind. I need to check out some other lists, like Mike's list. I need to check out Mike's list. Yes, please. Please release it soon. Anyway, this deck has insane potential. Even our best team member, our best player, our amazing player who tops big events regularly, says that this is a lot better than Majin Vegeta, and I believe him fully. So I believe that for now I'm gonna place it in Rogue, but it has extreme potential to actually be meta. Similar with Apeku. Apeku just got better now that Red is gone. So these two decks, Rogue choices, might as well be very close to meta. Now let's finally check out Green. Alright, it's time for Green. Now you might be wondering, Damien, did you really just make a long video so that you can get to a point where you basically brag about Green being good? Yes, yes, that's basically what I did here. This Green being good is basically what inspired me to do this video. Plus, I know that a lot of you really appreciate the information on like what's good now, what to play. There's a lot of confusion. Let's talk about Green, because with the latest ban list, we basically got a new color in the game, and it's green. So my top contenders are Gohan, Cell Reboot, Cooler, and Master Roshi. Let's go over each of them. Gohan. Guys, Gohan is the best green generic leader. He's the best green generic leader. He's the generic leader that we have been waiting for. Now, you might be asking, Damien, what do you mean generic leader? You know, he has a big engine and stuff. No. If you do that, you will fail horribly, trust me. You play Gohan, you play Time Chamber, Gohan, you play your leader, of course. Goku and Gohan to help you awaken, to do some cool tricks, and that's basically it. Dump Trunks, dump Vegeta, dump everything else, just put in green good stuff. There you go. No problem. If awakening early is problem, just use Time Chamber to awaken turn 2, if possible, of course. So Gohan, amazing, the best generic green leader in the game at the moment. Now, the deck which might be the best one is Reboot Cell. Now that decks which have 20 cards in hand are basically gone, hand destruction is a lot better, and Cell is the best hand destruction deck in the game. So this one, worth looking at. Then Cooler does a bit of everything. It's my deck, I play it in a hand destruction way, but Cooler does a bit of everything. He has amazing matchups against anything yellow that isn't Trunks Cheetah, because you have 8 copies of Potential Charismatic Villain, you have Dodoria, you have ways of punishing all yellow non-Trunks Cheetah decks and all black decks, because they don't have any protection, so you can just remove their pieces constantly. Amazing deck. Plus, with Sin gone, it's easier to keep your Unisons alive now. And finally, the previous best green leader, Master Roshi. I think Master Roshi is just getting better. And yeah, I think he's just getting better. Plus, he has the Saiyan tag, which helps him work with some cards from the Gohan's engine. Honorable mentions, because I don't have rogue decks listed here. Honorable mentions, King Piccolo. King Piccolo is like this close to being the next green meta deck. So you might be thinking, Damien, you're insane, this deck is awful. No, it's not. It's actually quite good. It has a lot of aggro, a lot of pressure. Plus, what makes King Piccolo so good right now is that it lost its biggest weakness, which was Sin, which was negging. Because King Piccolo can save his cards from being removed due to game mechanics. But now that Sin is gone, King Piccolo is a lot better. King Piccolo is a lot better at the moment. Probably the best green aggro deck. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one top more often. Maybe become a meta pick. We will see. We will see in a couple of weeks. And then Gotenks, SS3 Gotenks Reboot, another amazing green deck. Still suffers a bit from Smoke Dragon, but I think without having to fight an uphill battle against Gogeta and Sin, Gotenks is a lot better now. So yeah, these are the green leaders. If you're wondering about rogue picks, Broly, extra Broly is a lot better now that Gogeta isn't here to just severely punish him. And Gogeta BR. Green Gogeta BR is going to be phenomenal when the new champ packs arrive. So yeah, these are like rogue picks then. Let's check out black. And for black, well, this is basically when I gave up and almost fell asleep because I was doing this in the middle of the night. So anyway, here are my top contenders. Cumber, I mean, these are all the usual suspects. Cumber, a lot better now that red is gone. Now the Dirty Burst is gone as well. Cumber probably the next best black deck. However, very high skill ceiling on this one, so I don't expect it to perform as well as Kai. Kai is going to be the best performing black deck, so if you're looking at what to play in black, play Kai. Hatchiek, now that Sin and Gogeta are gone, play Hatch. Hatch shuts down so many decks right now. Go and play Hatch. Hatch is amazing. And then I think like SS Force and Goku. I think this one is gonna be good in the meta. It's a bit of a roguish pick. You might be asking what's with SSG Trunks and Mechikabura. I don't believe that they're gonna be meta picks. I'm not sold on them. I think they're gonna be like rogue decks, but I think they will fall off relatively quickly. So we will see, but when it comes to black, just go with your usual suspects. Before we end the video, let's dive into the summary. So every color has solid choices. Red lost horribly lost, but it will recover. Yellow will not be the best color, but it will end up being good. I believe that everyone who says that yellow is going to be the next best color on the level that red was is flat out wrong. I don't believe that's going to happen because now we have more options to fight yellow. Yellow was good in the previous meta. It struggled, but it was good because red Gogeta and red Sin were such gatekeepers for like almost 3 entire sets. So not a lot of things managed to get a chance to rise up to fight yellow. That's why yellow is not gonna be the best color. We will see new decks in the metagame rising to the occasion to fight it. All of a sudden, green exists. Green did not exist in the game for a very long time. Now it suddenly exists, and we got like 15 leaders with this ban list at minimum. That's gonna be interesting. And yeah, we're gonna have a BT21 meta tier list coming out at the end of the week. Stay tuned for that one. I just need a bit more time to gather my thoughts and data and everything, and then I'm gonna give you like a meta list of like 60 leaders or so. If I have missed any leaders, they're probably gonna be on the tier list. Don't worry. And yeah, that's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, what are your picks for the upcoming meta for each color? I'm very interested in seeing what you guys have to write. I'm very interested in seeing your picks. I think that we're about to see a whole lot of decks which we haven't had the chance to see before. And I think that's going to be super interesting. The next couple of weeks after the ban list becomes legal are going to be very exciting, because now everyone is going to start experimenting with these new decks, old decks. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And please, before you leave, share the video, hit those like and subscribe buttons, help us grow. We are on our way to 3,000 subs. We're like 4 subs away from 2,500, so almost halfway there. Let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get to 3K subs relatively soon. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.